Many people over 60 still believe that bloating, indigestion, fatigue after meals, or that constant dull discomfort in the stomach is simply something you have to live with as you get older. But the truth is, the problem may not be age alone. It may be what is quietly happening inside your gut every single day, where harmful bacteria could be multiplying, clinging to the intestinal lining, and disrupting not only your digestion, but also your energy. What concerns me most is this. Many older adults faithfully take probiotics every morning, hoping their gut will improve, their stomach will feel calmer, and their body will feel lighter. But after weeks, even months, they are still bloated. Their bowel movements are still irregular, they are still tired, and they still feel weighed down as if something has never truly been addressed at the root. So, what if the problem is not that you have not tried hard enough, but that your attention has been focused in the wrong place? Today, I want to share a very different perspective with you. It is not just about adding more good bacteria to the body. It is about facing the real obstacle that may be preventing your gut from healing, the biological shield that harmful bacteria use to hide and hold their ground. And when that protective layer has not been broken down, many of the things you take are only passing by the problem rather than truly reaching the root of it. In this video, I will walk you through 8 spices and natural remedies, from the mildest to the most powerful, to see which ones are truly worth paying attention to for people over 60. And the formula in the final spot may surprise you because it is not expensive, not exotic, and may very well already be sitting in your kitchen. Stay with me until the end, because that seemingly small ingredient may be the missing piece your gut has needed for years. After age 60, many quiet changes begin to take place in the body, and the gut is one of the areas most clearly affected. That is why some people who used to eat quite comfortably and digest food without much trouble now find themselves dealing with frequent bloating, indigestion, constipation, or feeling tired and heavy after meals. The issue is not necessarily that you have suddenly become weak. It is that the environment inside your gut is changing with age. As we get older, the gut microbiome tends to become less diverse. Put simply, the beneficial bacteria that help support digestion, protect the intestinal lining, and keep the immune system functioning steadily are no longer as abundant as they once were. Some studies have also shown that the age-related decline in microbial diversity is associated with persistent low-grade inflammation, poorer nutrient absorption, and ongoing fatigue. On top of that, bowel motility may begin to slow down, digestive enzymes may work less efficiently, and the protective lining inside the gut may no longer be as resilient as it once was. Add in a low-fiber diet, not drinking enough water, poor sleep, lack of movement, or long-term medication use, and this imbalance becomes even more likely. That is why many people over 60 experience something very familiar. They do not eat much, yet they still feel bloated. Their bowel habits become irregular. Their stomach feels heavy much of the time, and their mind does not feel as clear or alert as it should. And when the gut begins to fall out of balance, the body often starts speaking up in ways many people do not expect. Many people hear gut health and immediately think about adding more beneficial bacteria. That way of thinking is not wrong, but it only tells half the story. What matters even more is the condition of the environment inside the gut right now. In many cases, the problem is not that you have not taken enough probiotics. It is that harmful bacteria have been settled in for too long and have built a protective layer around themselves that is very difficult to break through. That protective layer is called a biofilm. You can think of it as a biological slime-like coating where bacteria gather in clusters, cling tightly to the intestinal wall, and hide beneath an invisible shield. Once that layer is in place, they are no longer easily swept away or affected as simply as we might assume. That is also why many people take probiotics regularly, eat yogurt often, and even try to eat healthier, yet their stomach still feels unsettled. The gas is still there. Bowel movements remain irregular, and the discomfort keeps coming back day after day. The trouble is that when a biofilm is present, harmful bacteria do not just survive more easily. They also make the gut environment less welcoming for beneficial bacteria. The intestinal lining becomes more easily irritated, nutrient absorption becomes less efficient, and the body starts falling into a vicious cycle. You eat, but do not absorb well. Mild nutrient deficiencies begin to build over time, and then you become more tired, more prone to inflammation, and harder to restore. So if all you do is keep adding more of the good stuff without addressing what is getting in the way underneath, the results often will not go nearly as far as you hoped. By this point, you can probably see one thing clearly. Just because something is said to be good for the gut does not mean it is truly the right fit for your body at this stage of life. Some options only provide temporary relief. Some support digestion fairly well, and others go deeper by affecting the gut environment itself and the ability of harmful bacteria to hold on. So instead of choosing based on advertising or trends, what really matters is looking at three things: how well it may help reduce harmful bacteria, how well it can calm digestive symptoms, and how safe and appropriate it is for someone over 60. In just a moment, I am going to walk you through 8 spices and natural remedies, arranged from the mildest to the most powerful. Some are familiar but only modestly effective. Some are underrated compared to their true value. And one formula at the end of the list is different enough that it may make you rethink the way you have been caring for your gut all along. Number 8. Oregano oil diluted in warm water with lemon. If you have ever looked into natural remedies for gut health, oregano oil has probably been one of the first names to come up. It is well known for containing carvacrol and thymol, 2 plant compounds that have been studied quite extensively for their antibacterial and antifungal properties. On the surface, that sounds very promising. And, to be fair, oregano oil is not useless. The problem is that it is often praised more than it truly deserves, especially for people over 60 whose digestive systems tend to be more sensitive than they used to be. The strength of oregano oil is that it may help create a less favorable environment for certain unwanted bacteria. When used properly, some people notice that their stomach feels lighter, less sluggish, and that gas is somewhat reduced after a few days. But its weakness is right there as well. Its effect can be fairly harsh, working more like a surface-level sweep than something that supports deep, lasting recovery. In other words, this is the kind of ingredient that can make it feel like something very powerful is happening. But it may not be the smartest place to start if your goal is both to calm the gut and rebuild long-term balance. Some laboratory studies suggest that carvacrol has activity against a range of microorganisms, but that does not mean using oregano oil will automatically restore gut health. For older adults, what matters is not just whether something is strong, but whether it is gentle enough for the body to tolerate and practical enough to use consistently. If you want to try it, oregano oil should always be diluted and never taken directly. A very small amount can be added to warm water with a few drops of lemon to soften the intensity. However, anyone with a sensitive stomach, acid reflux, those taking blood thinners, or those prone to irritation of the digestive lining should be especially cautious. Number 7. Crushed raw garlic with manuka honey. This combination is talked about so often because garlic contains allicin, a sulfur compound that forms when a clove of garlic is crushed or minced. Allicin has been studied fairly extensively for its antibacterial properties, which is why garlic has long been considered a kind of natural antibiotic in traditional thinking. But here is the interesting part. Garlic only works well when you use it the right way. Many people chop garlic and eat it immediately, or add it straight into hot water, unintentionally reducing the effectiveness of the active compounds that have just begun to form. When garlic is crushed and then left to sit for a few minutes before use, it has time to activate the compounds your body can benefit from. In this remedy, Manuka honey does more than make the taste easier to handle. It is also valued for its antibacterial support and its ability to soothe the lining more effectively than regular honey. The advantage of this combination is that it feels accessible, easy to find, and very real. Not an expensive capsule, not a flashy marketing claim, but simple ingredients with a fairly clear biological basis. Even so, for people over 60, this is still not a remedy that can take you very far. Raw garlic is quite heating and can easily cause intestinal discomfort, stomach warmth, belching, or even irritation if your digestive system is already sensitive. And its taste and smell are not something everyone can tolerate over time. If you want to try it, you can crush one small clove of garlic, let it sit for about 10 minutes, then mix it with a small amount of Manuka honey. Start with a low amount first to see how your body responds. Number 6. Fennel seeds with warm ginger. Fennel seeds have long been used in traditional remedies to support digestion. One of their most notable compounds is anethole, a naturally aromatic substance that helps ease mild intestinal spasms and reduce trapped gas. Put simply, fennel does not attack the way stronger antibacterial ingredients do, but it helps the gut feel less tight, less crampy, and more at ease. For older adults, that is especially valuable because what wears them down is often not just harmful bacteria, but the constant feeling of pressure, discomfort, and unrest in the belly. Ginger plays a different role. Compounds such as gingerols and shogaols have been studied for their ability to support digestive motility and help the stomach empty more efficiently in certain cases of functional indigestion. In other words, ginger does more than simply warm the stomach. It helps the digestive system wake up and move more rhythmically instead of staying sluggish, which is something many people complain about after meals. When used together, fennel and ginger create a nicely balanced effect. One helps soothe, while the other helps stimulate movement. You can steep 1 teaspoon of lightly crushed fennel seeds with a few slices of fresh ginger in hot water for about 8 to 10 minutes, then drink it warm after your main meal. Number 5. Fresh ginger with diluted apple cider vinegar. This is a remedy many people have heard of, but it is often used the wrong way, which is why it either feels too harsh or fails to produce any noticeable benefit. What makes this combination worth paying attention to is that it works in 2 directions at once. Fresh ginger helps warm the digestive tract and support bowel motility, and some studies have also shown that it may help the stomach empty more quickly in people with functional indigestion. That means food is less likely to sit in the stomach for too long after a meal, which can significantly reduce feelings of heaviness, mid-chest belching, and bloating. At the same time, apple cider vinegar, when properly diluted, may help support the digestive environment at the beginning of a meal, especially for people who often feel that food moves through them too slowly, leaves them feeling heavy, and makes them sleepy after eating. The reason this remedy ranks above fennel with warm ginger is that people who respond well to it often notice the effects relatively quickly. Some feel less sluggish in the stomach after just a few days, less tightness after meals, and a clear reduction in that sensation that food is just sitting there and not moving. Still, this is not a remedy for everyone. If you deal with acid reflux, stomach ulcers, weak tooth enamel, or a sensitive esophagus, apple cider vinegar may make things worse rather than better. The right way to use it is to make sure it is fully diluted. You can mix a small amount of apple cider vinegar with a few slices of fresh ginger in warm water and drink it about 15 to 20 minutes before your largest meal of the day. Do not drink it concentrated, and do not assume that the more sour it is, the better it works. Number 4. Clove with Ceylon cinnamon. The standout compound in clove is eugenol. It has been studied extensively for its antioxidant properties, and for its potential to help manage certain unwanted microorganisms. Ceylon cinnamon, on the other hand, is different from the more common cassia cinnamon found in most grocery stores. It is milder, more delicate, and most importantly, it is better suited for repeated use over time in moderate amounts. Ceylon cinnamon contains polyphenols and aromatic plant compounds that have drawn interest for their potential to support inflammatory balance, metabolism, and the digestive environment. What makes this remedy valuable is that it does not feel overly harsh like oregano oil, nor as heating and uncomfortable as raw garlic can be. It works in a more refined way, helping the gut feel less heavy, calming the low-level digestive disturbances that tend to linger after meals, and gradually creating a more stable digestive foundation when used consistently. For people over 60, that makes a big difference. The older we get, the better the body tends to respond to things that are steady, moderate, and sustainable, rather than remedies that hit hard for a few days and then have to be abandoned. You can steep a small amount of lightly crushed clove with Ceylon cinnamon in hot water and drink it warm after a meal or later in the afternoon. The important thing to remember is that it should specifically be Ceylon cinnamon. It is best not to regularly use large amounts of cassia cinnamon by mistake, since cassia contains more coumarin and is not the ideal choice for long-term use. Number 3. Berberine from golden seal or barberry with ginger. By the time we reach number 3, we have clearly moved beyond the group of spices that simply help you feel more comfortable after a meal. From here on, the options begin to feel like they are working more deeply on the gut environment itself. Berberine is one of those. It is a natural compound found in certain herbs such as golden seal and barberry. And in recent years, it has been studied more and more for its effects on the microbiome, blood sugar metabolism, and inflammatory responses in the body. What makes berberine stand out is that it is not just something mentioned in folk remedies. It also appears in a growing number of modern studies. Some data suggest that berberine may influence the growth of certain unwanted bacteria while also helping support the gut environment and the protective barrier of the digestive tract in people dealing with metabolic issues or lingering low-grade inflammation. In other words, this is no longer the kind of remedy you take simply to warm the stomach. It feels like a more biologically substantial option. When combined with ginger, this remedy becomes easier for older adults to tolerate. Ginger helps ease feelings of a cold or heavy stomach and supports digestive movement, while berberine works more deeply beneath the surface. That combination gives this remedy a kind of two-layer effect. One layer helps the body feel more comfortable, and the other aims to shift the gut environment in a more favorable direction. However, the stronger the effect, the more caution is needed. Berberine can interact with medications, especially in people taking diabetes medications, blood pressure medication, blood thinners, or those with more complex health conditions, so this is not the kind of formula to use casually or on impulse. Number 2. Turmeric with black pepper and coconut oil. If there is one ingredient that has been mentioned almost too often in health conversations, it is turmeric. And because it has been overpraised for so many years, quite a few people hear the word turmeric and immediately become skeptical. That is completely understandable. But there is one very important point to make. Once you strip away the exaggerated marketing claims and look at it from a practical biological perspective, turmeric still remains one of the most noteworthy options for people over 60, especially when the goal is not just to calm the stomach, but also to support the gut against ongoing low-grade inflammation and long-term imbalance. The most important active compound in turmeric is curcumin. Curcumin has been widely studied for its ability to support inflammatory balance and provide antioxidant effects, and in some research models, it has also been linked to influencing biofilm and the protective barrier of the gut. But this is also where many people use turmeric the wrong way without realizing it. Curcumin is absorbed very poorly on its own. You can take turmeric every day and still have your body receive only a very small fraction of its real potential. That is why this remedy does not include turmeric alone. It also needs black pepper and coconut oil. Black pepper contains piperine, a compound known in some studies to significantly increase the bioavailability of curcumin. Coconut oil acts as a fat source that helps curcumin dissolve and gives the body a better chance to make use of it. When these three elements are combined, the remedy is no longer just a little turmeric drink for the sake of it, but a combination with a very clear biological logic behind it. You can mix a small amount of pure turmeric powder with a pinch of freshly ground black pepper and a little coconut oil, then stir it into warm water to use in the morning. Number 1. The upgraded golden flush. Ceylon cinnamon, turmeric, black pepper, coconut oil, and a pinch of ginger. And now we come to the formula in the number 1 spot, the one I consider the most well-rounded option for people over 60 if the goal is not just temporary relief, but gradually helping the gut move back toward a more balanced state. I call this the upgraded golden flush, a blend of Ceylon cinnamon, turmeric, black pepper, coconut oil, and a small pinch of ginger. It sounds simple, but it is the way these ingredients work together that creates the difference. What sets this formula above the others is not that it is the strongest in a harsh, aggressive way, but that it works on multiple levels. Turmeric provides curcumin, a highly valuable compound for supporting inflammatory balance and the gut environment. Black pepper, through piperine, helps the body make better use of curcumin instead of letting it pass through with very little benefit. Coconut oil acts like a bridge that helps fat-soluble compounds work more effectively. Ceylon cinnamon adds another layer of support for metabolism, antioxidant activity, and a steadier digestive foundation. And ginger, even in a small amount, serves as the final piece that makes the formula feel less heavy, more warming, and more compatible with the real digestive comfort needs of older adults. This is the kind of formula that does not just aim to make the gut environment less friendly to harmful bacteria. It also supports the body in feeling calmer, absorbing better, and recovering more sustainably when used the right way. In other words, it does not just clear the path. It also gives the body a chance to rebuild the balance that has been disrupted for far too long. You can mix a small amount of Ceylon cinnamon, turmeric, black pepper, coconut oil, and a pinch of ginger into warm water, stir well, and use it in the morning. It does not have to be a large amount. What matters most is using clean ingredients, the right kind of ingredients, and staying consistent. If you want to try the upgraded Golden Flush, the most important thing is not to use a large amount on the very first day, but to use it the right way so your body can accept it and respond well. For people over 60, the gut is often more sensitive and the body tends to adapt more slowly, so the smartest approach is always to start gently. You can take it in the morning, about 20 to 30 minutes before your first meal, using a moderate amount to see how your stomach responds. If your body feels comfortable with it, then you can continue using it consistently each day. When it comes to gut care, consistency is always more valuable than rushing. Another important thing to remember is that no matter how good a formula is, that does not mean a stronger version will work better. Too much turmeric can upset some people's stomachs. Too much black pepper can create too much heat. And if you use the wrong kind of cinnamon, your body may end up carrying unnecessary stress before you see any real benefit. So the goal here is not to force the gut to change, but to give it a positive signal every day, gentle enough to sustain and accurate enough to build real benefits over time. The most common mistake is trying it for a few days and then judging it too quickly. The gut does not fall out of balance overnight, so it rarely recovers after just 2 or 3 servings. The second mistake is using poor quality ingredients, the wrong kind of cinnamon, adulterated turmeric, pre-ground powders that have been sitting too long, or impure coconut oil. The third mistake is relying on one spice drink while the daily diet is still full of sugar, ultra-processed foods, and far too little fiber. Finally, many people forget that the gut is also influenced by sleep, hydration, and movement. A good formula can help open the door, but it is your lifestyle that determines whether that path actually leads somewhere. When the gut begins responding in the right direction, the first signs are usually not dramatic, but they are very meaningful. In the first few days, you may notice something small. Less tightness after meals, less gurgling in the stomach, or that heavy feeling no longer lingering all the way through the afternoon. For many people over 60, simply finishing a meal without feeling drained or uncomfortably bloated is already a significant change. After about a week, some people begin to notice more regular bowel movements, less gas, and a softening of that constant sense that something in my stomach just doesn't feel right. And as digestion becomes less chaotic, things that seem unrelated may begin to shift as well. Clearer thinking in the morning, less sluggishness during the day, and slightly better sleep at night. That is because the gut does more than process food. It also influences immunity, inflammatory activity, and the way your body uses energy every day. Of course, not everyone will feel the same changes, and no one should expect a miracle after 48 hours. But if you are moving in the right direction, the body will often leave behind very real signs, quiet, gradual, but enough to let you know that you are no longer standing still. Even though these are natural ingredients, natural does not mean they are right for everyone in every situation. If you are taking blood thinners, diabetes medication, blood pressure medication, or if you have stomach problems, liver or gallbladder issues, gallstones, or ongoing digestive symptoms, you should speak with your doctor or a qualified professional before using them regularly. In particular, if you are experiencing unexplained weight loss, ongoing abdominal pain, long-lasting diarrhea, severe constipation, anemia, or blood in the stool, that is no longer something that should be handled with kitchen spices alone. What I want you to remember is this. These remedies can be very helpful as a support tool, but they are not a substitute for medical evaluation when your body is sending warning signs. Use them as a smart way to care for yourself, not as a reason to delay seeing a doctor when you truly need to. After everything we have just gone through, there is one thing truly worth remembering. After age 60, gut health is no longer just about whether food digests well or not. It affects how you absorb nutrients, how much energy you have during the day, how light or heavy you feel after meals, and even how clear-headed you feel when you wake up in the morning. When the gut falls out of balance, the body usually does not complain through just one symptom. It speaks through many small signs, quiet, persistent, and easy to overlook. So, if you have been taking probiotics regularly and still feel heaviness in your stomach, bloating, irregular bowel movements, or ongoing fatigue for no clear reason, it may be time to look at the problem from a different angle. It is not only about adding more beneficial bacteria, it is about creating the kind of environment that gives the gut a real chance to recover. And sometimes that first step does not begin with an expensive product. It begins with a few familiar ingredients, used the right way, at the right time, and with enough consistency. I would like to invite you to try something very simple. For the next 7 days, choose the number 1 formula and use it every morning in a moderate amount. At the same time, rate 3 things each day on a scale of 1 to 10. Your level of bloating, your level of abdominal discomfort, and your energy level throughout the day. On day 7, look back and see what story your body is telling you. If you decide to try it, come back to the comments and tell me what day you are on or which symptom changed the most for you. And if this video helped you see gut health in a new way, do not forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone you care about who may also be quietly struggling with digestive issues after 60.